All right, guys, here is a band workout today. So grab your long resistance bands and we're going to start standing. You might have a bit of a head chop off with me, but that's fine. You don't need my head. And we're going to stand and start at the back of our mats, holding our bands, a little bit of resistance. And we're just going to take our feet so they're sitting quite stable. So mine are hip. You might want to take them shoulder width apart, entirely up to you. We're going to start by taking a lovely deep breath in, lowering down into a squat, a little arm opener, so you're squeezing those shoulder blades, and then you return everything back to starting position. So we squeeze the belly, we inhale as we drop down into our heels, we exhale, open out, inhale, return, and then we exhale as we come up. So just try and get a nice rhythm in the breath. We're trying to keep our backs beautifully straight. So you want to keep that chest elevated, squeeze the belly as you pull your shoulder blades together, and then return. So we're going to do 8 more like this. And you can choose your resistance. You might want to squeeze a little bit more depth into those shoulders as you drop down. You might want to reduce it. See how you're feeling. Managed to move all the furniture out of this room to create some space. Still in my rental, soon to return to my house. And squeeze. So I hope we'll have a lot more space for anything online and recording. Squeeze back. Last 2. See if we can go a tiny bit deeper in these squats. Lovely. 1 more. Fabulous. We come all the way up. We drop our chin to our chest. We soften through the knees. And we take a roll down to the floor. Just allow your body just to drop down. Band still in the hands. Once you hit the bottom, do a little sway side to side. Just waking up a little bit more into the hamstrings. So let your body just naturally flow side to side. And then bring yourself back to the middle, soften the knees. Let's take a little walk forward, bringing ourselves down onto our hands and knees. I want you to lift your chin, lift your bottom. Let your spine dip, pull your shoulder blades together. And as you breathe out, we're going to scoop the belly in. I'm going to curve the whole spine, chin, tailbone, arching up through the back. Pausing here. And then the exhale, we go back to that cat-cow. So we're doing cow. And then we're going into cat. Scooping it all in. 1 more time, releasing out. And curving up. And then we're going to bring ourselves to neutral. You're going to set the band underneath your hand. So I've just spread it through my thumb. My hands are flat on the ground. And we're going to just do a reach out as we exhale. So you're going to do right leg, left arm, coming to a hover at the bottom, and then a lift and a squeeze as you pull that band up. So again, you don't want too much resistance. It's quite a lot on that shoulder joint. So you can loosen it, or you can do this completely without band. We're just doing opposite arm to leg, keeping the back flat, keeping our eye gaze down, our belly's pulled in tight, stabilizing through the spine, and just working on that reach through the arm and leg. We're going to go 5 more. Inhale as you hover, and then exhale as you reach. So if you're struggling with the hover, you can just drop down briefly and then reach out again. 1 more. Big reach and return. Reset the spine, abs on, straight over to the other side. So now we're doing right arm, left leg, hover, exhale, reach. So just be very careful you don't lift your leg too high. The second you lift your leg too high, your lower back will slightly dip. So you just want to keep the length more than the height. Squeeze of that buttock, squeeze of the tummy to protect your lower back. 5 more in this arm. Last 3. Last 2, big reach. 1 more. Good, and release. Go back into that cat stretch. Just curving and holding and pausing and pushing the floor away and pushing into that arch as much as you can, squeezing the belly. And then bringing your body back to neutral. Good. We're going to keep holding up this band. Take your knees back a little bit. Bring yourself slowly to the floor. And then bring the band just above the head, holding it in a C shape. Take the feet a little bit wider. Pin the toes to the ground. Taking a nice breath in. We're going to lift up the chest. We're going to open the arms out wide, just like we're doing in those squats. And returning everything to the floor again. So just make sure the band has got enough resistance so that if it touches your chest quite happily, you know you need to get your hands a little bit closer in and work a little bit more. And I want you to think about those shoulder blades, pull them back. Try not to lift your chin too high. Your eye gaze just stays to the front of the mat. And release it all back down. If you wish, add 1 leg lift. Lift up as you lift the chest. Return it all back down to the floor and swap to the other side. Reach and squeeze. So again, if you don't want to use a band here, you can just do the elbows pulling back and then return to the floor. So it's a similar move. You just get a little bit more of a squeeze into the shoulder blades and it takes the pressure off the shoulders. Entirely up to you. 6 more. 3 more each side. Keep the breath going. Get a little bit more length in those legs. Squeeze it. 1 more each side, I think. Last one, big reach, big squeeze, and then release it down. Make a little pillow with those hands. Let the body sit heavy. So from here, hands back onto shoulders, carefully lift yourself up. Hands walk in a little bit. We take that cat stretch, we curve the spine, we squeeze the belly. And then we ease up into neutral. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips, keep your feet flat to the ground as you can. As you walk the feet back, back to the feet. Hang like you did at the beginning. Scoop the belly in and let's roll the spine. So we're coming back up to standing. Once you hit the top, we take that lovely shoulder roll, resetting the spine again. Very important. It resets your posture to where it needs to be. So we're going to go into lunges. We're going to take our left leg forward to begin. Make sure that you're not too angled behind. You want to get a nice kind of train trap position. Up onto the toes at the back, both legs dead straight to begin with. We're going to go into some rotations. So either you keep your eye gaze forward and focus on something because it can throw you off balance, or you can follow your left hand. So we begin by taking our arms up. We go down into our lunge. We twist that left arm, squeezing the shoulder blade, return to the middle and come all the way back. Same side. Down, turn, center, release. So my right arm is absolutely stabilized in front of my shoulder. So that's resisting the movement of the left arm. Whoop, bit wobbly. Squeeze it back and up. So I'm doing 10 reps. Go as deep as you can into that lunge. Stay strong and stable on those feet. That's 6. So back muscle, you can do quite a lot of resistance on this. Last 3. And then one more big squeeze all the way around. Then pause here. Can you go an inch or two lower? If you're a little bit more of a challenge, arms into the air, open them up a little bit and pump through the legs. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whoop, and 10. Come all the way up. Now, step your back foot in so you flatten it on the ground. Keep those hips square and then slowly roll down towards that foot. So if you need to stop on your knee to get to the floor, do so. And then work on pushing your left hip back and extending your right knee as much as possible. Sorry, your left knee. Keeping also your right leg grounded so that heel at the back is on the floor. Just getting really good stretch into this left leg. And whilst we're there, we're going to slide the band. Just going to remove my socks underneath your foot. So on the ball of the foot, keep the stretch going. And then bend that knee, hold onto the band either side and roll yourself up. So now we've got a stronger resistance. Loosen it as much as you need to. Keep that back foot grounded at the back. And we're going to go out into lateral raises. Now, lateral raises is a soft elbow and you're pulling your arms out to the side. Very slightly in front as well. Because the band is already in front, that position naturally occurs in your arms. You can keep your arms as bent as you like or as straight as you like, but always having a little micro bend in the elbow. Be strong in those legs. Inhale down. Exhale, squeeze up. Good. 5 more. Keep the core strong. Last 3. Last 2. One more. And release it off. Good. Step forward, then free the band. And then step your left leg back. So back into those lunges again. I'm just going to take my other sock off. So set yourself up in the same place. Your feet must be at least hip width apart. Then you roll onto the back toes, extend that back leg, and make sure this foot at the front, your right foot is slightly turned out. Arms forward, and we drop down into that lunge. We rotate the right arm, squeezing into that shoulder blade, and come all the way back up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, and return. So you're trying to make a beautiful straight line, that's in that back. And you're trying to keep your knee sitting as much above the ankle at the front, but your weight is still in that front heel. You don't want to follow the band. You just keep your eye gaze forward. You pull back and return. Your left arm is beautifully stable and strong. 5 more. One side's always a little bit more wobbly than the other. It's just definitely my more stable side. Last 3. Can you go a bit deeper in those lunges? Last 2. One more big rotation. And then we return back. Lift your arms, open them slightly, and pump through those legs. Big squeezes. Take it in, that front buttock. 8, 7, a little bit lower if you can. Last 5, 4, 3, last 2. And then we come all the way up. We drop our arms. We take that back foot in so your heels now flat to the ground. Soften the front knee and roll down. And come into a hamstring stretch. So lightly drop to the floor. Push that right knee straight. Pull your right hip back. Pull your left hip forward. And just melt down. Take some nice long deep breaths here. And we're going to slide that band under whilst we're here, onto that foot again. So bend the knee a little bit if you just need to get the positioning right.
Keep the stretch going whilst you're here. A couple more breaths, going that little bit deeper. And then soften the knee. You can hold that band over side, roll it up. Good, so that back leg is strong and stable. This time we're going to go into bicep curls. I just need to get a little bit more equal both sides of the band. Okay, when you're ready, roll those shoulders, nice strong position. Glue those arms in and come into bicep curls. Inhale down, exhale up. I should take my jumper off, it's too hot now. Going in from the cold to the heat. Then you start moving your body again. Then you're hot again. Big pull up to those shoulders. Really pull your elbows in, so you're trying to isolate the upper arm. So I'm in a slight hammer curl, so my palms are facing in as I pull that band up. Let's go 4 more with this. Big squeeze up. Much resistance as you can, keeping the control. Keep your tummy nice and still to keep your upper body still. And then give me 1 more big, big curl. And then step that foot back in again. Release the band. Lovely. So we're just going to stay up here and do 1 more upper body exercise with the lower body. The feet this time are going to go wide. So I'm going to take my heels to the very edges of the mat. You might want to step on the longer part of your mat, entirely up to you. So you're like that. So that takes you into sumo stroke plie squat. And your arms are coming back in front of your chest. And you're going to drop down. And we're going to do a big squeeze open and then return, keeping our arms up this time. So you get a little bit more isolation through the shoulders. You squeeze back into those shoulder blades, excuse me, and you pull back in. Pull in, open those knees, squeeze, and release. So here we want to try and get the knee following the alignment of your little toe as much as possible. So your back position, I'm going to show you side on, keep going. As you drop down, you're very slightly sticking out your bottom, but you're trying to keep your back more upright. In a normal squat, we're more like that. Okay, with this one, work on opening those inner thighs, squeeze back, chest is more elevated. Oh, I'm dropping my arms, didn't mean to then. Keep those arms up the whole time. Open those knees a little bit wider, working those inner thighs. 4 more. Those arms level with those shoulders. Open, squeeze. 3. Last 2. A little bit deeper for that last 1. And then we pause and we pulse the hips. 9. Open those arms. Relax the shoulders away from those ears. Squeeze the shoulder blades. 4, 3, last 2. 1 more. And then release your arms. Take your feet into a parallel position. And then roll through the spine down to the floor. Try and get your hands flat and your legs dead straight. So we'll take it more into a hamstring stretch and inner thigh stretch. If you want more, heel toe your feet a little bit wider and then roll down deeper. Some of you may want to get your elbows to the floor. Some of you may be on the tips of your toes, that's fine, but work on extending through those knees and really opening it up through the back of the legs. 4 breaths here. Lovely long deep breaths. And to come out of this stretch, just come up with your hands. Heel toe your feet a little bit further in. Make sure you're facing forward on your mat if you've turned. And then bend the knees deep. And then just hover. So I'm on my toes. Sink your hips as low as they can go. And then just reach your arms out and curl your spine. You should get a nice lower back stretch here. If this isn't for you, don't do it. Just bring yourself down onto your bottom and just pause there for a few moments. Other than that, so if you can curve forward a little bit more. And then we're going to come sit down onto our bottoms. Okay, we're going to put the band around both feet. So take it around balls. And you can do this with dead straight legs or slightly bent legs, up to you. Combo exercise. So first of all, we're going to lift up tall. And we're going to work on rotations again. So we're going to scoop the belly in and we're going to go to a half roll back, which is a lovely C curve in the spine. Our palms are facing down and we're going to open one elbow out to the side as we follow and rotate. Then we go around to the other side and then we pause and we lift the arms up, not too high, to frontal shoulder raise. It's quite a lot of resistance. And I don't want you to lift above your head. You just lift and squeeze. And I want you to try and keep your wrists straight because it's quite easy when you're holding onto a band. But in order to try and make your arms work harder, you'll end up flexing your wrists and putting quite a lot of strain on your forearms. Try and keep those forearms working in the same alignment as the wrist. So you pull up, it's a really good wrist strengthener actually, and then you turn. And you might want to go a little bit deeper down to work a little bit more into your core. Really squeeze into those shoulder blades. If this isn't working for you with a band, release your band and just work without one. Yeah? And then you've got the opportunity to raise your arms a little bit higher without that resistance. So there's your kind of alternative without your band. Other than that, keep going. So rotate. Rotate. Four more. It's the front raise that's nasty, not the rotations. That's what I'm finding anyway. Last two. Get as much squeeze as you can on that turn. Squeeze the thighs. Keep those hips beautifully still. One more. Then one more big lift. And then use your arms to roll yourself back up. Walk up that band. Take hold of it, and then if your legs aren't straight, straighten them now, lift up tall, bend your elbows and take a forward fold. Just get a little bit of stretch into the back of the hamstrings, and again into the spine. Now I'm going to take the band off my right foot, leave it on my left foot, and then I'm just going to slowly roll to the floor, raising my leg up to the sky. And just pause here and just take a mini stretch into the hamstrings. So a nice stretch using that band. Then walk yourself down the band to give it a little bit more freedom. Couple of options with this exercise. Now, I want you to drop your leg halfway down, hold it there, lift your chin towards your chest, roll up, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then roll it all the way back down, keeping your leg in the same place. Roll up, squeeze, and roll down. Now, not everyone comfortably comes into a full sit-up, whether or not that's just a spine issue, your body's just not designed to do it. So in that case, just come into a crunch and then squeeze your elbows back in that crunch, ease it off and lower down. So it's exactly the same, just less rolling motion in the spine. You just don't come up as high, that's all. But you can still get a good upper abdominal workout by doing that crunch, that pause on the squeeze, And then the release back down. And roll it. 5 more. Really slow. Take the control. Take your time. And don't rely on the band just to hover your leg in the same place. Maybe loosen it a little bit. 3 more. Last 2. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. 1 more. And then as we roll out, we bring that band up to the sky. Just hold on to it lightly for now, okay? No pressure in the arms. Just hold on, because actually the grip of the band can be half the problem with some of these exercises. So a bit of a challenge for you. And I can give you an alternative if you don't want to do it. We're going to keep the leg in the air. We're going to bend our left foot in towards us. You're going to walk your hands much further down towards the tail end, and then bring your elbows in towards your waistline. So you're leaning into your upper arms. Tuck your shoulder blades under, keeping your elbows on the floor. I want you to lift up into a 1-leg bridge. Okay, so if you're happy to do this, you can work on dropping that leg down and lifting all the way back up. So I'm holding it with my arms, biceps are isolated, and you're just working on that leg lift up and down. If that's not for you, you might want to bend the knee, kick it out and in again. Or if you need to come out of your bridge, just do this exercise simply with your back on the floor. So you're not getting that back workout that you mean to do, but you're still getting that nice hip mobility work and working that leg. And perhaps you can do a couple like this and maybe lift up into a bridge or a half a bridge, or get up into a full bridge and give me 5 more leg drops. Keep squeezing into the buttock to lift the hips. Last 2. 1 more. Then lift the leg all the way up. Roll it out. Extend that right leg again. Walk up that band and go much deeper into a hamstring stretch. So get as high up in that band as you can. Pull your toes down, push your heels away. Pull your left hip bone down into the floor as you straighten those knees. Take some long, deep breaths here. Move that leg slightly across the opposite one, not too far. So all my buttock has done is gently come off the ground. And then use your right hand to pull the toes towards your right shoulder. And that stretch goes down the outside of the hamstring, down into the buttock. Push the knee a little bit straighter. Maybe turn your toes in a little bit. Keep your right leg pushed into the floor. Nice long breaths here. If you want to take this stretch into rotation from here, and you feel your back is comfortable enough for it, you can keep that long leg down on the floor. Open your left arm out wide, and then just rotate so you roll onto the outer hip of your right leg and work on moving that left foot up towards your ear. Now, my hip doesn't like this, so I'm going to bend that leg, gives a little bit more freedom, and then I can work a little bit deeper there. So it's up to you. See how your body feels. And just work on putting those toes towards your shoulder, grounding down into that left shoulder blade. You open up and breathe. In fact, my hip doesn't like it at all today, so I'm just going to go to a halfway point and go about there. So 2 to 3 more breaths. See if you can pull the toes further up towards your right shoulder. See if you can ground your left shoulder blade a little bit more. And then we're going to begin to move out of it. So rolling slowly back up into the middle. Pause in the center. I want you to bend your right knee if you haven't already done so, and then let the knee drop out to the side. You might want to take your right hand on the inner thigh. Then we're going to lightly bend the left knee as if you're taking it to the outside of your arm and putting it towards the outside of your left shoulder. So kind of like getting into the hip a little bit. Maybe loosen the bands. And then the bottom part of your leg is going to straighten towards your left shoulder. Now, I quite like to do this using my other hand to hold in the band and then working in that. It helps balance a bit more. Some of you may just want to hold here and hold here, okay? It just depends on your flexibility, your tightness, basically. And then pull those toes up towards the left shoulder, extend that knee, get right into those inner thighs. So just breathe into this, 4 to 5 breaths. You need to use quite a lot of arm force here. So work with it, breathing out, going deeper into that stretch. Take one more deep breath for me. Go deeper, 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 deeper. And then just begin to ease the legs back into the middle. Loosen up the band so you're not gripping. Those poor hands are doing quite a lot of work. Take the bands in both hands. Lift your right foot up to meet the left foot and swap them over. So first of all, we just drop our left leg to the floor, and then we do a very light stretch in that right leg. So it's just a little hamstring stretch, holding onto the band. Then hold onto the band with both hands again. So like we did on the other side, we're going to lower the leg halfway down. We're going to inhale, chin to chest, exhale, roll it up, and then squeeze into those shoulder blades and roll it all the way back down. So I don't roll all the way up and extend my spine. I stay in that kind of crunch position, pull back, and then roll back. So always imagine you're kind of like rolling, 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 drawing your rib cage to your hips to the rib cage, keeping that sucked in belly to work on that crunch, and then you roll it out again. Slowly and controlled. So again, if you can't come all the way up, you come into a mini crunch, you squeeze those shoulder blades back and then ease it off, okay? It's really important. You go into that crunch, you hold it, hold it, hold it, almost raising a little bit higher as you pull the elbows back and then release. Otherwise, 6 more of these, whichever one you're doing. You need to keep that breath going. Last 3. Last 2. Make your last one really count. The biggest roll up, biggest squeeze. And then we roll down. As we do so, the leg goes up into the air. Just pausing it there for a moment. My poor fingers, the grip is getting them. And they haven't even finished. Okay, so we're going to go to that one leg bridge. We slide the left leg in, heel towards the bottom. You need to bring your hands down more towards the tail end of your band. Then you pull your upper arms in towards your hip, the waistline, and you push your elbows to the floor. Forearms are up in the air. And then we lift up into that bridge. And then we're going to lower down. And we're going to lift all the way back up again. lower down and up. Or you can do a knee bend to a knee push, leg push, sorry, if that's better for you. You may just be in a half bridge. You may be hovered off the ground. If you don't like being in a bridge here, just work on that leg movement up and down, okay? Keeping a strong hold of the band. If you can, get up into that bridge and give me another 6. Really, really squeeze that left glute to lift the hips. Don't speed this. Three more. Let's get these hips a little bit higher. They will start to drift down. A little bit higher. One more. And then lift all the way up and drop to the floor. Walk up that band. Slide that left leg away. And take a deep hamstring stretch. So if your hands are getting a little bit knackered, wrap the band and try and just use a little bit more kind of relying on where it wraps rather than the grip. I've seen some people wrap around the wrist and work there, holding onto the hand and just pulling it in and getting the stretch there. So you just work with whatever works with you. So try and pull your right hip down, extend a little bit more into the knee, toes down, heels to the ceiling. We're going to move the leg gently across the left thigh, turn the toes towards that left shoulder. So now my buttocks just lightly off the ground and then stretch from there. Turn the toes in a little bit and then use a little bit of arm force to drive the toes towards your shoulder. Take some breaths. And then if you wish, you can begin to rotate over, keeping the opposite leg straight. See how your hip feels. We're going to roll over onto that left outer thigh. Open your right arm out wide, palm facing up, and we're going to work into the hamstring stretch. So if you want to bend that knee underneath, do so. I prefer it. And you want to try and pull the toes towards your left shoulder and then push into that right shoulder blade. 5 breaths, using the exhale to go a little bit further every time. Keep going a little bit deeper. Maybe pull those toes up a little bit more towards the shoulder. And then when you're ready, gently begin to ease the leg back up to the sky. Fold your left leg if you haven't already done so, and let it fall out to the side. Half butterfly. So now we're going to work on the inner thigh. So first of all, bend the right knee, maybe catching the band in your right hand or both. The knee's moving its way towards the outside of your right shoulder. Pause there and then begin to open out the lower part of the leg. So now we're trying to get the toes in towards the right shoulder. So those of you that are holding on with your right hand, maybe push your left inner thigh down. Like I said, I like to use the other arm and get a bit more force. So you need to use a lot of arm strength with these stretches. You want to feel that resistance. You want to breathe into the stretch. You're going further on that exhale. 3 more deep breaths here. Keep moving through it. Breath as slow as possible. And then slowly begin to ease off the leg. Bring it carefully up.
Closing both knees, releasing that band, and hug those knees in for a moment. Now we're going to take it into a buttock stretch. So we're going to do that. I think we're going to go back into a seated position. And we're going to bring our left leg in front of us. Swing your right leg all the way back. Coming into pigeon. And what I want you to do is just move your arms a little bit further over to the right. And then begin to lengthen out, but keeping your body weight back in that left hip. So try not to fall away. Yeah, that's quite nice, falling away. So we're going to try and stay back here and then just lengthen out into a tiny little C shape as you drop your head and chest down. Begin to walk your hands back into the middle. Sit yourself up tall. Tuck those toes under at the back. Squeeze the belly to lift your hips. Pause there for a moment, pushing your heels to the floor, and then you can switch the legs over. First of all, coming down into the center, then you walk your hands over, leave your bottom behind, but lower your head and chest down. And just enjoy that breathing here. And begin to move your hands again back up to the middle. This time we're going to sit down to that right buttock, swing the left leg around, come find your comfortable cross-legged position. Bring your hands onto your knees and just lift up tall through the spine. Bring your hands together, slide your fingers in, and then curve your spine behind you, open out your shoulder blades, dip your chin slightly, squeeze your fingers together and push your arms forward to get a little stretch into the shoulder blades, which have done quite a lot of work today. Then release the hands back to the knees, roll your spine back up tall, pause. Take your arm and stretch the shoulders. So as I push my hand into my arm's pushing back into my hand, and that gets a little bit more stretch down the sides of the shoulder into the arm. It's a nice stretch, that one. Release, swap to the other side. And then bring your hands behind you, just lean into your arms and lift your chest and pull your shoulders back. So you're squeezing back. And then bring your hands onto the knees. Sit yourself in a nice, comfortable, neutral position. We open the arms. We take a breath in on the exhale. We raise all the way up. We bring the fingers together. We take a full stretch up. Grow through that spine. Lift as tall as you can. Then drop the shoulders. Soften the elbows. Give yourselves a clap and a bow forward. Thank you for joining me. And woof, bad day.